All right. We're live, YouTube. What's up, folks? We're going to give this a minute. Impromptu lives are always takes time to catch everybody up, see who's around. So we'll give it a minute. I'm just going to hang here. If you watch this on replay, I don't know, fast forward a minute, see how quickly we get to anything pertinent. I just hope everybody's ready for a good weekend. All those things. Do some things even though you don't want to do the things, right? Still tolerable to sit outside this morning. We'll be out here before it heats up, hopefully. The title of the chat inspired by my lack of attention this morning. You ever sit down to do your coffee or not sit down, but you go to pour your coffee, you go to pour just enough cream in it and you're just not paying attention, or you just put too much in there and it's like then it's all watered down. It's like, what do? Well, you got to drink enough to where you add more coffee. The struggle is real this morning. So that's going on. Barry, what is up, Barry? Good to see you. I don't know, I didn't really have a lot to talk about. I just wanted to check in. I guess did want to hit up on some of the current events. Not that there's a shortage of current events, really. It's like every week there's always something more pressing than the week before, depending on what your outlook is. The bump stock ban lifting is got the commies in a tizzy, it seems like. I mean, how many years was the bump stock around before 2018 without any issues? And they're just so keen to convince everybody that there'll be a 10 million or whatever, 10,000 Las Vegas shootings if we allow bump stocks. Like, people are beyond ridiculous. And then we get into the whole discussion of, well, Las Vegas didn't go down the way they told you anyway, so we won't even get into that, because it's one of those. The evidence belies the narrative, but you can never prove it to somebody who's not gonna, who's always going to accept the official version, right? There's just, people have already chosen their sides. Like, either you heard it and you understand that the narrative is not what was told, or the narrative is not what what happened, right? Or you can listen and be like, well, we're definitely in bad shape when something like that goes down, and they won't even expose things for what they really are. Yeah, the bump stock ban just makes weapons of war. Oh no! Like, could you imagine getting issued a bump stock to go to war with? Like, what is this piece of garbage? Don't give me this. Windy and cold. Windy and cold up there, huh, Barry? It's nice, cool breeze this morning here. Definitely not cold later in the day, though. Yeah, right. Pump stocks are worthless. It's like they're a novelty. They're something you can have fun with, but nobody serious is gonna take a bump stock. It's just performative. It's obviously there's an agenda behind it, right? because they're not a serious tool. What's up, Corsair? Steve? Only have a minute. Yeah, right on. Suburban life, huh? Right? Yeah, the bump stock thing just ran further a course than it should have anyway, because it never should have gotten to the point of even being banned. But the ATF wants to swing at anything and try to exert their authority on people. So they got smacked down twice this last week. They got smacked down on bump stocks, and they got smacked down on, what was their other rule? Oh, the brace rule. They got smacked down on. So get that brace bump stock out. I want somebody to make. Do they exist? Braces that are bump stocks? Like, I want somebody to make one just to have it, just as a novelty, just to see people cry about it. Because it's like the braces. I mean, it's a there's uses for it, but then it's just a novelty beyond that. Like, so it's not a full stock. What's your point? You know, does that make it scary to you that it's a brace that's it's just enough to hold the just enough uh, there on the end to hold the buffer spring, and then it's just there to you can strap it to your arm if you wanted to. Like, you can dual wield. Wow, that's really effective. I'm sure that the mass shooters are thinking about how to strap two braces on and they can go on a bigger killing spree. Meanwhile, not trying to figure out how to reload. I guess they'll just shoot 100 round drums and go out in a blaze of glory. I don't know. It's just like everybody wants to blame the guns, and they're not thinking about people's minds and hearts and what really gets in there to cause people to do mass chaos like that. Like what's going on in Maine right now? What happened in Maine last night? Something went down. I haven't read all the details, but somebody went on a spree, blowed up some propane tanks, burned some houses down. Like, it's legit, like, vigilante. Somebody's going rogue up there for some reason. But I haven't read anything about the why yet, or the agenda. Like, was there a manifesto or anything? But in the middle of the night, Maine is kind of unusual. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, isn't that the second thing that's happened in Maine in the last year? And like, stuff like that didn't happen in Maine before, or at least maybe it just never hit the news. Maybe Maine's full of rogue lone wolf shooters. I don't know. But you used to never hear about it. And now all of a sudden, two in 1 year, suspect. What's Steve here say here? Steve says it's good that SCOTUS is dealing with it. Yeah, Trump needs to be put back in his box. Like, Trump, you can't just ban bump stocks, you moron. And I don't know, did the brace ruling come out at the same time frame? Or did the brace rule come out in 2016 or earlier? I remember the brace went back and forth. Like, there was a shoulder issue, like you can't shoulder it. Like, okay, that makes how fire your. Next thing you know, you can't fire from the prone. You can't go to the range and shoot from the sitting position. Like, they're gonna come up with other stupid rules. Taking guns treats the symptom, not the sickness, right? And it doesn't even really treat anything. It just makes a bunch of victims in the long run. It'd be like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Somebody barking at down here. You relax over there. Also, yes, right? There's no such thing as an assault weapon. Just weapons. Right on. True that. But ultimately, we're not going to be able to rely on the SCOTUS to save our ability to walk freely for much longer. So uh, don't get too excited. I don't think, you know. But it is interesting to see everybody melt down, and now they're trying to find a new crusade and a new legal avenue to go after everybody again. So be ready to be a felon again over something dumb, right? But yeah, if anybody has any info on this main story, drop it or fill everybody else in, because I haven't seen any, like, was it a family dispute that went out of control, or was it a known fugitive, or was it a guy who was just sick of the town and went, killdozer on everybody? And if it was a corruption issue, you'll never hear about the issue until it's long and buried, and everybody's just focused on the shooting spree that he went on. Barry, you need to make a mouth brace for the stupid people. Is that like a muzzle but different? Oh man. All right. See you later, Corsair. Have a good day. Malibu, huh? That doesn't. Malibu doesn't sound like the gang territory. Sounds like where the high rollers live or something. Maybe. Yeah, but so I don't know. The beer cats take a L for the week, but I'm sure they'll be back in full force on something else as soon as they can. Um, but I hope everybody's doing all the other things necessary with the. Everybody got in a tizzy this week with the Russians off of Florida, and that's got lots of people building bunkers and getting their potassium iodide and worried about the Cuban Missile Crisis Part Deux and stuff like that. That's interesting. It's like, what message is Putin sending, right? Is he really sending a message? Is it performative? You want to. You'd like to think that people that are in charge of the military are countering this action in some way, but it seems like they're too worried about the month of June than they are about actually any defense actions. They've dumped so much money into the Central Europe that they can't figure out how to defend our own borders, and in some ways they're encouraged to not defend our borders. So we're stuck in that situation pretty direly. I don't know. Yeah, it's bad, right? Our leadership was like a snake eating its tail, says Barry. Do snakes actually do that? That'd be interesting to see. Is that a saying, or is that something that actually happens? I don't remember ever hear. I don't think I've ever thought about that. But it's like, it's so odd. It's a saying and it makes sense, but does it actually happen in real? And that's where the saying comes from. Sayings usually always have a basis in some sort of fact, right? Uh, hey, what's up, Warsaw? How you doing? Good morning. Um, but the whole country is a snake eating its tail. Um, the and we haven't even talked about the money problems, the debt problems. Um, our interest we pay on the debt, or not our interest, but our deficit is greater than the uh, defense budget. So that's kind of a big deal. I mean, it would be nice if the defense budget was so small that number really wasn't that big, but that's not the case. Um, Wait till our debt spending, our payments on the debt are greater than the entitlement package of all the Social Security and Medicaid payments. Wait until it's bigger than that. And how far away? 2 years away from that? Are we? Are we even 2 years away from, the debts being payments being that much greater When is the debt going to outweigh the entire budget? I mean, people don't realize how astronomical these numbers are, and they're really hard to grasp. But just seeing written down that one number is bigger than the other number should like concern people. But there's a lot of people who just think the numbers don't matter, and in some ways they don't, because they're just going to continue to grow and just accumulate. And it's not like it's real stuff; it's just numbers. But somebody wants to pay the piper, right? Somebody wants something for what they gave. That's the issue. At some point, the piper has to be paid, and that's when the real, whether it's the banks calling it in or the government calling it in, at some point somebody's going to be calling the ball and be like, all right, time to pay up. Like, what you're going to pay up with? Well, that's the problem. And it doesn't help with just nobody in Congress having a clue about, yeah, there's no way out of it. That's the ultimate conclusion everybody should come to when it comes to debt and deficits and budgeting. Like, there's no way out. We're not going to be able to reduce a budget, raise tax, or have enough income in tax or tariffs. There was the whole idea of tariffs floated this weekend, which got Trump a lot of kudos. Like, everybody's like, yeah, no income tax, don't tax tips, like all these things. Like, well, dadgum, where was this stuff at 15 years ago when there was people proposing it and everybody was like, no, we have to have our defense spending? And these are Republicans, remind you, back in the great year of 2011, etc., 2008. We have to have our defense spending. We'll die if we don't continue to grow the defense budget by 10% a year, or whatever the number was. We can't do that. We can't reduce spending. No. Can't reduce taxes and reduce spending. No. Like, a bunch of morons. The average GOP voter got hoodwinked for so many years, and now they're finally starting to see the bigger problems, and they're confused as to why there's no path forward with these solutions, because they rejected anybody who believed in those and wanted to actually put those things in motion years ago, decades. Like, anybody worthwhile, like Justin Amash, got kicked out of the GOP basically. Like, anybody worth their salt has basically been kicked out or is so marginalized by the rest of them. I mean, look what Trump did to Rand Paul during the debates. He attacked him and belittled him and just insulted him on stage to make him a non-factor. Like, because it's about his ego. It's not about principles or policy. And here we are. I hate them all. But yeah, you can't borrow your way out of the debt, right? You definitely can't borrow your way out. Can't really budget your way out either. That's not where we're at now. We used to. I don't know. It was probably before my life. Had to be before the 80s when we probably could have put something together. And after Nixon closed the gold window on convertibility of dollars to gold, that was probably we probably had a window of give it a decade after that to where we could have got the budget in order, got spending in order, put the Federal Reserve back in a box of some sort with some other legislation or something. But allowing the Federal Reserve to run rampant after that is what caused it all. That's where it all just started. And at the point, when did we hit $1 trillion debt? When we hit $1 trillion is probably when it was out of control and there was no coming back. Probably, numerically, you could just probably run the numbers. And then once you have just full fiat, the bank's in control. It would be nice if corruption and crybabies would be dealt with rather than get promotions, right? Yeah, Barry, it seems like that in all cases of life, right? Like, from our young days to now, it's like, man, the same people are the ones that keep getting promoted, and people who talk good big about themselves are the ones that get promoted, and you don't have to have real ideas. Do I agree, or what did I miss? What did Warsaw say that I'm not sure what I'm agreeing with. I don't see I missed something here. I'm not sure what. I only see your good morning there, Warsaw. Did I miss another comment? But I probably agree with 90% of what you guys say, though. Except for all you Trump fans. I don't know. There's not many Trump fans. There's just people who think we just have to deal with him because he's the only option. There's always a third option. Speaking of third option, anybody seen him lately? He drops in on Twitter about once every quarter, it seems like, but third option's pretty uh, non social media active, it seems like. I haven't seen a video from him in forever. Like, think about the old timers like Pre-Dawn. Does a video every now and then, and I guess with YouTube, I guess YouTube drops some new rules, gun rules. I have no idea. Uh, but I guess people are dropping out of YouTube because of that. Which reminds me, I still got to do a video on that sling. I still got to talk about it. Um, right, Barry? And the thing is, it's not even like a circle jerk. It's more like they're all just pulling the wagon in one direction. Just the jackasses can't figure out which way they want to pull the wagon. Like what speed and who's going to get the credit for pulling the wagon is kind of the what's going on. It's definitely as we say, the Federal Reserve is running the show now. Bankers rule the world, and dang, I wanted to have a little bit lighter-hearted chat. See what else is going on. But yeah. What else? What else is kind of more up front and in the news or whatever? See, the Russians are here. The invasion of the border is still going on, and nobody. The sad part is about all of that, both the military side and the border side of it on the domestic. Nobody in any position of authority is coming out and speaking out. Now the border guard, like union, every now and then will say something, about how hard it is and how they don't have the resources, but they just want more money and stuff and continue to do their job. They don't necessarily want to change the policy. They just want money and stuff for their people. Like there's nobody of any substance out there that's, and I guess you get fired. I mean, on the military side in particular, it's not good, but things are dire enough. Like, at what point do you call the ball and be like, this has to, we're past the point of no return. Like, everybody needs to gird your loins. Like, they all wait till they retire, and it's too late to really put up a warning, because then everybody's like, oh, you're just a old retired guy just trying to throw sour grapes or trying to make a name for yourself and get on the all the newscasts and stuff or whatever. You just don't. You're not looked at the same once you're out and retired or whatever. I'm having a hard time reading. But I hope everybody's got their garden going. I was getting the garden last night, and thoughts on the garden are always profound, I guess. And with the Russian thing, and it's like if everything quit, everything goes haywire right now, like what can your garden do for you? Like that'll put some scare into you. Like if everything goes haywire right now with what you have, what you're growing, what's in the freezer, like that's when redouble down your efforts. Like it's it'll make you think because you're obviously right now. I'm not really have a lot of produce right now, right? So we'd have to still stretch it out until we probably have tomatoes next month. Uh, Tomatoes don't feed you that great, but something to go with the meat in the freezer. Uh, and you think about just and Gray Note, to his credit, has talked about this for a long time about how much land it takes to really have a good crop to sustain off of, like to grow your you know to to increase your food production and enough to support however big a family you need, right? And he's talked about you know up to 10 acres and the different what you can produce, and you really got to think about what you have on it, right? um, he's talked about they talk about corn out there where he's at, and I've long been like, I can grow some corn, but I can't grow that much corn regardless, really. And really, potatoes I think are the way to go uh, for sheer volume and the ability to grow vertically with barrels and stuff. And I've failed at potatoes every year. I haven't even planted any this year, and so that's another thing. It's like, yeah, behind the times on my starches and carbohydrates. Because that's your calories, because you can only have so much protein put away and on the hoof, and it's a challenge. And you think if things just shut down, like, well, I want to plant some more. What, I got a West S sighting in here? Right, we would starve if the garden was all we had, right, White West? Well, and you got stuff, you just think about where you're at. You got your canned goods, you got your freezer. The garden's in between mode right now for pretty much everybody. If you're like Howie up in there in Food Forest, he's producing stuff already. A lot of people that have but these are people that have greenhouses and are producing food at a high rate. Like that's like all they do, and not all they do. I mean that's a large portion of their they're retired, they got a lot of time. Like, it's hard to produce that much food working whatever it is that you do, and coming home and then doing whatever side garden you got. And Barry's like talking about how he doubled his size of his garden, and we talked about we tried to expand ours this year and only got it partially expanded. I still got to plant some more squash. It's the winter squash. So squash is a good bridge between potatoes or corn, but not quite the same. Different nutrient content, but you grow a pretty good amount of different squashes here, and I've had pretty good success with that. But yeah, think about it just going down right now and what you got, like rough times ahead. Who else we got checking in here? Northeast Slingshot, welcome to the chat. Haven't seen okay, welcome. I don't think I've seen you before, unless you're a name that's changed. Like everybody else, you change your screen name and don't tell nobody. Yeah, root vegetables are the way. They can be. They're definitely a good way to produce. I think corn is a very unique east of the... You hush. Nobody asked you. Corn is a very unique east of the Mississippi thing, I think. We just got it in our culture so much that we have to have corn that it's kind of it's like tradition. It's like a cult. We have to have corn. So we plant corn. I like corn, but it's not the way of mass production to support. I said hush. Crazy. Getting harassed over here. Oh, Bug Out Brad. Huh. That's different. Northeast Slingshot. Okay. Skinny would be the new thing. Skinny would be in, right? And imagine if it hits in the winter when you don't even have your garden started, and your ability to start the next year is even more hindered, right? That's, yeah, it's some rough things to comprehend there. That makes you redouble your efforts when you start thinking through that. I mean, that's why, I started changing, trying to grow as much as I could and just going through it. And it's like, it's a chore when you're not able to do it 24/7, and that's what you're really focused on. They live. Welcome back to the chat. What's up? My potatoes always fail. You had good luck with painted mountain corn. All right. I don't think I've heard of that specific breed or whatever, or type of corn. Painted mountain, huh? Where are you? They live. I can't recall where you're located, but I think my corn issues are just, I mean, my potato issues are just placement and getting a little better soil instead of the sandiness what we got going on. Stefan is with us. What's going on? You have the same weather in Paris as where I'm at right now, like clear and nice. That's good. Store wheat berries and corn, get a hand mill. Yep, got all that. Definitely put away corn, popcorn. Got a mill in the ground. You want your wheat berries put away. That's definitely a good bridge. It's a good bridge plan. But again, that's just that'll get you. I mean, obviously, depending on how much room you have, it'll get you what, a year, two, depending on what you're making, depending on what you're doing. That wheat berry storage and grain mill is only going to get you so far. And then it's like you got to put up or shut up. Like you got to put it. You got to be producing. My goodness, somebody's talking this morning. What are you doing back there? Had a fruit orchard. Yeah, I've been talking about putting in like a small, increasing, increasing my fruit trees. But I got cherries right now. The peaches are coming in, but we want to increase about 15 more trees. We're not there yet. It's still young. These are really young trees, so we need to get to that 5-year maturity or whatever. Get there, and then we'll get this rooster out of here. Keeps interrupting me. Where'd you go? He ran off, didn't he? Yeah, we're talking to you. Yeah, right. It's time to put that rooster away. It's good to see you, Liberty Garden. Check out how much weight Venezuela's lost during the early Maduro years, right? Yep, those people could be getting hungry. Wet. So it got into your mind, so it got past the filter. Water's key, right? Water's. Oh, foul. Oh, okay. Foul. Really? Okay. All right. Cool. Heirloom breed, bred for drought and windy conditions. Yeah, that sounds like here, right? I'll have to make a note of that. Maybe we can find painted mountain corn. West replanted an orchard this year. 100 degrees in May. My goodness, that's ridiculous. I thought 95 was bad here. It's June. Oh, now the dogs are fired up. My goodness. Busy day already. Busy for a Saturday morning. I asked you once. Yeah, we might have to have a video of the rooster slaying. Oh, now he thinks it's like that must be food. Oh man, we might just get ran out of here by all the animals. All right, they live. Have a good trip. Return unscathed. We're about ready to be on the front lines. It seems like 48 and raining for Barry. It's good to get rain. We haven't had rain in quite a while. I think we're in a pretty long dry spell. Like we haven't had any afternoon thunderstorms or anything. So we're in an extended dry spell, which is not totally unusual, but it's getting to the point to where it needs to be getting some sort of afternoon activity to the fire season starting to kick up a little bit. Because people are dumb and they start fires with stupid reasons. But it is what it is. At least you're in a Tacoma, in a Toyota. If only it was that easy. Toyota Hilux is for everybody, right? All right. So with that being said, I guess I'll check out of here. Don't water down your coffee. Then you just have to go pour more, and I need to go get one more cup, then I'll get started for the day, and we'll call it. You know, we'll call it the day. So y'all be good. We'll take care of this chicken back here, maybe. Thanks for checking in, everybody. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing the things that at least help you out. Just be realistic about the things, and that they probably won't get you through the full end of the world events without some significant improvements and additional resources. So be realistic about what you're doing and what it can actually do for you. Don't think you're gonna, just know your limits, know what you need to improve upon and what you're gonna need to do when the time comes. So, Stefan says water helps you washing the cold nuggets. Well, I guess if it ever comes to that, I don't know if we're ever going to have that or not. Y'all have a good day, everybody. Prep hard, live free.